Welcome back. Well, the murder of Reeva Steenkamp has raised some serious questions about gun control. Let's talk to Adele, Kirsten from Gun Free South Africa now. A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. Just before the break, we played a clip from Gun Owners Association saying that gun ownership is not to blame for this incident. But the fact of the matter is that sometimes a gun can make a bad situation even worse, don't you think?
Well, the research shows that guns in the home pose a risk to everyone, to the owner and to the family. And that's the data in South Africa. So it's not worth having a gun in the home. And people's behavior changes. People get angry. People have fights. Having a gun, an easy access to a gun, means that an argument, a fight, can easily turn lethal. If someone does not have a gun, and I guess in this particular instance, if Pistorius did not have a gun, Reeva Steenkamp would be alive today.
And just before we came to this interview off air, we were just talking about the fact that people kill and not guns per se. But when it's a tense situation, like you mentioned, there's plenty of room for error, isn't it? Where even the most trained personnel, when holding a gun in a very tense situation, things can go horribly wrong.
Well, I think we must look to what the information tells us about what happens in South Africa. We have high levels of crime, but one of the main categories of crime in our country is interpersonal violence. It's one of the leading causes of death in our country. So it's violence between people who know each other. I'll give you another example. Is the Medical Research Council has done work on what's called intimate femicide. And so what that means is it's men killing their partners. So it can be your spouse, sometimes an ex-girlfriend, your wife. And the data there shows that in the cases that they looked at, that 2/3 of the men who killed their spouses used a legal gun. So that's evidence to demonstrate that a gun in the home, which is ostensibly often bought to protect the family from outside intruders, and that is an issue. But the reality is that it often gets used against the family.
How then do people protect themselves and their loved ones without a gun?
Well, the majority of South Africans are unarmed. There are just 1.5 million licensed firearm owners in this country. So people take a number of measures. There's community policing, street patrols. There's the private security industry, which is enormous. So we've privatized our security. I don't think that's a good situation, and I think obviously there will be calls for the police to be more effective in kind of visible public policing, etc. So it's a much bigger issue than just how individuals take responsibility for their own safety. I think this is really a national issue. It's an issue around security, but it's an issue around safety. It's how we feel safe.
In the US in particular, the gun battle there is raging. Bringing it back home here, do you think we should make it more difficult for people to own guns?
Well, South Africa has a good gun law. And in fact, we have an important innovation in our gun law, is that we have a two-step process. Is you first have to apply for a competency certificate. And that has a whole range of criteria, such as you may only apply if you're over 21. You are not eligible even for a competency certificate if you have a history of violent behavior, if you have any domestic violence interdict against you, if you have a history of substance abuse. So there's a big kind of hoop that you have to jump through. That's your first stage. If you meet those criteria, and there are background checks, the police may interview your spouse, your ex-spouse, look at your financial situation, look at your safe storage in your home. And then once you get issued the competency certificate, you then go to the next stage where you can apply for a firearm license that requires certain hours of training, etc. So it's a lengthy process. It should be a thorough process. And that's where, we are beginning, Gun Free South Africa is noting that we seem to be seeing some problems at the Central Firearms Register.
Quickly want to butt in there,
Yes.
Adele, we're really pressed for time. I just
Yes.
wanted to throw this to you. Accidental shootings. I mean, we've heard of the story of Rudy Fasagi and the accidental
Yes.
shooting of his daughter there.
Yes.
Now this, which may or may not be an accident, police are still investigating the
Yes.
Oscar story.
Yes.
But children also get a hold of weapons accidentally and they open fire. Do you think keeping them safe is enough? For example, if you're keeping your gun in a safe or in a drawer under socks or wherever it is that you keep it, do you think that's enough to keep them safe, or do you think they should be completely taken away?
Well, the law says you must store it in your safe. But again, children are curious, they know where the keys are kept. Children can get easy access to guns. I mean, we've had numerous incidents this year of scholars taking their parents' gun to school. So no, it's not safe-proof. And certainly Gun Frees would advocate that in order to secure the safety of your family, it's best not to have a gun in your home.
Thank you so much for your time. We could go on and on about this particular story, but I appreciate you coming here to chat to us about it. That was Adele, Kirsten from Gun Free South Africa.